Hi, we are almost in June. It is coming up in the last week of May, and I am putting together a process video showing you some of the Stitched Together, which is the June feature collection. And I'm just flicking through what I've got left. During this lockdown period, I have been creating up a storm to the tune of almost 100 layouts over this time. So I have sort of chewed through bits and pieces of this packet. I have bought a second packet just in case because I love the Stitched Together collection so much, just the bright, beautiful, vibrant colours. And I've also pulled in some of this season's mix-ins here that are part of the May-June idea book. And I don't end up using these mix-ins, but I thought I may, so I've pulled them in. One of the papers there, that sort of denim-y blue one there, is part of the scrapbooking collection, and same with one of those sort of patchwork ones there. They are part of the Stitched Together Scrapbooking Workshop kit. So there's a couple of extra papers that you get in the kit that aren't in the paper pack. Plus you've got all those cute die cut shapes. And I really liked the Picture My Life cards that were in this collection as well. I've used some of these for making some cards for people as card bases. Just the colours are beautiful and sort of a bit of an energetic, friendly, warm vibe that we've sort of needed around this time. So sorry about not flicking that piece over, but I am backing my photos of onto some white cardstock, just offcuts and scraps here, and just doing a general rough cut around the edges. So the photos that I'm going to be scrapbooking are I'm not sure if it's international or not, but we have Mr. Whippy. It's basically an ice cream van that drives around, and it's been doing it for many years in New Zealand. I'm not sure if it's almost a Kiwi institution or not, but they drive around and they play the song Greensleeves as they're coming around the streets, and you sort of hear it coming. And this particular visit from Mr. Whippy, and this is basically right outside our house, our fence is in the photo as I look over at my son. He heard Mr. Whippy, he was pretty much straight out there with his card, ready to purchase an ice cream after being in level 4 lockdown where we weren't able to get takeaways and lots of different things. It was a pretty cool treat. So I'm playing around here with the denim kind of background. I wanted to use that denim-y look. It just seemed to tie in with Ethan's plaid type shirt there that's behind the ice cream, which is kind of the feature photo in this layout. And I'm playing around with title options. So I'm cutting out this banner here, but I do end up changing things around, as I often do as I work through this layout. So I was going to use this banner as the title because I needed something that would stand out a little bit from the background, and the other grey title at this point, which is Good Times, didn't stand out enough. And I played around with the card to work out whether I'd use that blue side or the pink side. The pink card that I have used here for the journaling, in the Cricket collection that goes with Stitched Together, there's quite a cute sort of frame, Insta type photograph frame that looks quite similar, and it's got a wee heart that gets printed with it. So I do recommend looking at the Stitched Together Cricket collection. It's not an expensive one. There's a few cuts in there, but I can see them being very versatile, used with lots of different projects and layout ideas. So I'm playing around with these triangle die cuts that came in this scrapbooking workshop kit, and I don't end up putting them up the top here. I change the whole thing around, but I do sort of tuck them in like I am at the top of a collection, sort of like almost a triangle cluster. I liked the triangles because it tied in with the shape of the ice cream. So that's sort of that flow through from those sort of peaky ice creams through to the mountain peaks at the top. Now I'm pulling in the plaid, a blue plaid type Picture My Life card here. And I, as a consultant, I get an early sneak peek at the next idea book that's coming up for July and August. And if you love plaid, you will probably find lots to whet your appetite in the new, in the July-August idea book that will be coming up. So I'm just measuring here the sort of how much space the photos take up so that I can look at the scraps that I've got to back this group of photos, because I wanted something that helped them stand out from that denim, but still wanted that earthy, or that, I don't know what you'd call denim. It's kind of a natural, it's an everyday feel. Yeah, so I tried this striped paper from the Stitched Together collection, and it just didn't have the oomph or the wow that I was hoping for, but I do like the way the page and the shape of the things is coming together. So I pull out the pink, which reminds me of really old-fashioned wallpaper, this pink paper, and tuck that behind it, and it really did help the photos pop, especially the sherbet dipped ice cream that Ethan is holding. So I sort of had to work around what was left of the paper and the size that I had with that. I didn't want to waste the paper bits, so I made it awkward for myself putting it through the trimmer, and then realised I could line it up along the bottom as well as along the top, which was quite handy. And I will tuck that now in behind the photos. Just see how they stand out that much better than with the white stripiness. I will use some of that striped paper to back a photograph soon, but at this point in time I'm really happy with the look of that pink, bringing the photos to life a little bit so that they become more of a feature than just the background. This did also mean I was able to use the grey Good Times lettering from the sticker sheet. So I'm trimming these out like I did with the banner, because I want to put them side by side rather than underneath. So this is a really good way to sort of measure and make sure they're going to fit across there comfortably, and sort of to think about the positioning of it all. So sort of play around with ideas with these triangles. I seem to be really desperate to use them, and I'm really happy with how they turned out in the end. So I'm pleased I persisted with them, because it does just bring that continuity of the top of the ice cream up there. So I also trimmed off a back. So the back of that pinky paper is that sort of red and pale pink scallop strip that I've tucked down the bottom there. And you can see me trying again to put some of this stripy paper in, which I do end up using. So I created a bit of a layered paper in behind this ice cream photograph. So I decided that the blue, which is the other side of the stripy paper, and it's got little white spots on it, helped the photo stand out a little bit more. So I used that as the bigger piece behind there, as well as trying to locate a smaller piece of that stripy stuff, a smaller scrap, because that bigger piece I think could be used for quite a few different things. So playing around with different papers to put behind this photo in a layered look. So here we go. I've decided to trim down the plaid Picture My Life card and put that as one of those layers as well. This collection, Stitched Together, I've really enjoyed making cards out of it as well. There's been quite a few different occasions for cards recently, from babies. We've got a few baby showers coming up with the team of teachers at our school, and also when we were returning back after distance teaching for 5 weeks of our term. When we went back, I used some of these papers along with one of the stay home or safe at home collections that Close to My Heart did in the stamps, and tied that in with Spread Joy Not Germs, which was one of the statements, and a little bottle of sanitizer, because our teaching at school The day sort of seems to revolve in some ways around when you sanitize in and when you sanitize out of the classroom, or if you're going to use some equipment, you sanitize your hands beforehand and afterwards. Just to interrupt my train of thought there, the good time sticker, I did break the sort of the joining piece between the O and the D, but the beauty of these stickers was that I was able to position them and tie them back together. So you can see here I'm tucking in these triangles, and I've put sort of forefronted one of them up there as well. So I made cards for the team of teachers coming back, and then one of the other teachers also requested that I make some thank you cards for her to share with her team that she works with as well. So yeah, it's just when you have, I guess, trials or times that are really tricky, being able to write a note in a card that is personalised or that hasn't just been bought from a shop in a hurry is quite, it's nice to receive those thoughts, especially if your love language is words of encouragement or even gifts, because it's something, that in a way a card that is more individualised and not bulk made is kind of like a gift as well. So encouragement to make some cards. So I felt that the page wasn't quite finished. It was just a little bit too tidy, even after roughing up some of the edges of the papers and the triangles and the layers. So I decided to get the shimmer brush, and I think I've used raspberry, and I've used an older colour of the year, which I think might have been Bashful or Ballerina or something like that, for some softer pink splatters as well. And then I decide that I'm going to use my 0.5 black pen to draw some lines just around the square that's behind the papers. Well, it's not even a square, it's slightly longer one way than the other, just because it just felt it needed some separation. So this ruler that I'm using is the one that I got, I think, when I became a consultant. And it's great because it's got the little measurements and squares, and it's see-through, and there's even holes in it for stitching. So if you ever see something like this come up as an option, I would recommend it. So I've added that there, and I sort of think I'm finished, but I decide that I need some sparkly bits. So I'm delving into my box of our adhesive dots, glitter dots, and just all of those ones there. So I'm pulling out, I think I used the Sugar Plum pinks just to tie in with the page, the colours, and the pink on the ice cream. And I just put a couple of the reds in, not too many, because the Mr. Whippy truck is a very red truck, and a couple of our little silver type sparkles there as well, just to give a bit of dimension and finish the page off. So in the end, after playing around with ideas and things, I'm very happy with the page that has come about. Thanks for watching.